This is the story of what would have happened if Thragg had taken the wrong child, or perhaps the right one. Debbie Grayson gave birth to a second son. She named him Oliver, half human, half Viltrumite, a hybrid the universe had never seen. Nolan looked at him and saw potential. Debbie looked at him and saw her baby. Neither of them noticed the shadow crossing the stars. Thragg had been watching, not for Mark. Mark was already grown, already flying, already invincible. Thragg wanted the new blood, the mixed blood, the child who carried human cunning in Viltrumite veins. He came for Oliver the same night he had once come for Mark in another life. Debbie held the infant close. The window shattered. Thragg did not speak. He took the child and left Debbie with empty arms and a silence that would last years. Oliver did not grow up on Earth. He grew up in the Empire. But he was not like the others. The purebloods trained with rage. Oliver trained with patience. He watched. He calculated. Where they punched through walls, Oliver found the weak point in the foundation. Thragg noticed. The other children were weapons. Oliver was something else, a blade that thought. By the time he could fly, Oliver had already learned to lie, to wait, to let others exhaust themselves while he planned 3 moves ahead. Thragg called it human weakness. Oliver called it advantage. At night, when the barracks slept, Oliver looked at his hands. Pink skin, human eyes. He did not know what he was, only that he was different, and that difference kept him alive. The selection came early. Thragg wanted to test the hybrid. 12 Viltrumite children entered the arena. 1 would leave. The others fought like animals. Oliver let them. He dodged. He waited. When 2 remained, exhausted and bleeding, Oliver struck once. Precisely. The final opponent fell. Oliver stood alone. Not the strongest, the last. Thragg almost smiled. Almost. Years passed. Oliver conquered planets, not with destruction, with strategy.
He studied civilizations before he broke them, learned their language, their fears, their leaders. Then he dismantled them from inside. Planet after planet fell without a single city burning. Thragg watched the reports. The Empire had never acquired territory so cleanly. But Thragg did not trust clean. He trusted strength. And Oliver was still half human. The assignment came without warning. Earth, a planet Thragg had mentioned only in whispers. Oliver's father lived there, a traitor named Nolan. And another, a brother named Mark. Oliver did not know he had a brother. Thragg had kept that from him, just as he had kept Earth from him, just as he had kept everything that mattered. Oliver flew toward the blue planet alone. The Empire did not send armies for traitors. It sent executioners. But Oliver was not an executioner. He was a question Thragg had never answered. Earth was loud, messy, alive. Oliver landed in a city he did not name. The people did not run. They walked past him. They did not know what he was. For the first time, Oliver felt invisible. Not because he was hiding, because nobody was afraid. He found Nolan first, the father he had never known. Nolan was in the sky, patrolling, when he felt the familiar pulse of Viltrumite blood approaching. He turned,
and saw a face that should not exist. Young, pink, his own eyes in a stranger's head. Oliver looked at him. No recognition, only analysis. This was the traitor. This was the target. Nolan landed slowly. He understood before Oliver did. This was his son, the one taken from the crib, alive, Viltrumite, and something else, something colder. Oliver, Nolan said. The name meant nothing to the boy. Oliver tilted his head, the way a predator measures distance. I was told to find you, Oliver said, and to end you. Nolan did not raise his fists. He looked at the child he had lost. The Empire had made him a soldier, but the human in him had made him something worse.
A soldier who thought like a spy. Your brother is here, Nolan said. Mark, he doesn't know about you, but he's been looking for you since the night you vanished. Brother. The word landed like a foreign object. Oliver had been raised without family, without connection, without the concept of someone who shared his blood and did not want to use it. He hesitated. Thragg had not prepared him for this. Mark found them on the rooftop. He felt the Viltrumite signature. Strong, strange, not pure. He landed and saw a boy who looked like his father and nothing like him. Younger, smaller, eyes that calculated instead of hoped. Who are you? Mark asked. Oliver studied him. This was the brother, the one who had grown up with a mother, with earth, with choices. Oliver felt something he could not name. It was not hatred. It was proximity to a life he had never been offered. Thragg sent me, Oliver said, to kill your father and to see if you were worth keeping. Mark stepped forward. Oliver did not move back. He assessed range, wind speed, escape vectors, the way Thragg had taught him. But his hands shook just slightly. Human hands, human nerves. You don't have to do this, Mark said. Whatever he told you, whatever he made you, you can choose. Oliver had heard those words before, from prisoners, from conquered leaders, begging, pleading. But Mark was not begging. Mark was offering. And Oliver did not know how to receive. He struck first, not because he wanted to, because Thragg's voice was still in his head, telling him weakness was hesitation, telling him family was a chain. The punch was precise, fast. Mark blocked it. The impact cracked the concrete beneath them. Oliver did not pause. He pressed. Elbow, knee, a sweep designed for Viltrumite anatomy. Mark had never fought someone who knew his body better than he did. They rose into the sky, the city below unaware. Oliver fought like a chess game. Every strike set up the next. Mark fought like a wall.
Taking damage, absorbing it, waiting for Oliver to make a mistake. But Oliver did not make mistakes. He made traps. Mark found himself in a chokehold. Oliver's arms around his neck, pressure on the carotid, a hold Thragg had taught him for killing Viltrumites. Mark went limp. Oliver felt the victory and felt nothing. Then Mark moved. Not with strength, with trust. He let himself fall. The sudden weight shift broke Oliver's grip. They tumbled. Oliver hit a building first. Mark hit the street. Both stood, both bleeding. Oliver looked at his brother. Mark was not trying to kill him. Mark was trying to reach him, the way Nolan had tried, the way no one in the Empire ever had. Oliver felt the fracture, small, deep, in the place where Thragg's training ended and something older began. "I don't need saving," Oliver said. "I'm not saving you," Mark said. "I'm just not letting you go back to him." Oliver launched again, this time with everything. Speed he had held back, strength he had hidden. The hybrid unleashed. Mark met him. They collided above the clouds. The sound was thunder. Oliver struck Mark's ribs. Mark felt them crack. He answered with an uppercut that split Oliver's lip. Blood, human blood, Viltrumite blood, the same blood, different rivers. They fought until the sun began to set, neither winning, neither willing to end it. Oliver could have killed Mark 20 minutes ago. He had the opening, he let it pass. Mark could have broken Oliver's spine. He pulled the punch. They were learning each other in the only language they both knew, violence, and something underneath it, recognition. They landed on a mountain outside the city, exhausted. Oliver sat on the rock. Mark sat across from him. The distance between them was not space, it was time. Years of different childhoods, different fathers, different definitions of strength. "Thrag will come," Oliver said. "If I fail, if I don't return, he will come himself." "Let him," Mark said. Oliver looked at the sky.
The Empire was up there, the only home he had ever known. And below him, a planet he had been sent to destroy. A father who had spoken his name like it mattered. A brother who had fought him like an equal. Not a commander, not a subject. "He told me you were weak," Oliver said, "because you were raised with humans, because you hesitated, because you loved." Mark said nothing. "He was wrong," Oliver said. "You're not weak, you're just not alone." The words cost him something. Speaking them felt like tearing a muscle he had never used. Empathy, loyalty, family. The human parts Thragg had tried to starve. Mark stood, offered his hand. Oliver looked at it. The hand of a brother, the hand of an enemy, the hand of a choice he did not know how to make. He took it. They flew back together, not as allies, not yet, as two people who had seen each other completely, for the first time. Thragg watched from orbit. He had seen the fight. He had seen the hesitation, the hand, the flight back side by side. He did not feel betrayal. He felt confirmation. The hybrid was broken. The human had infected him. Thragg descended like a comet, not to retrieve Oliver, to erase him. The impact flattened the field where they stood. Thragg rose from the crater. No words. He never spoke before killing. Oliver stepped in front of Mark, not because Thragg had taught him to protect, because Mark had. Thragg struck. Oliver flew back. Mark caught him. Thragg advanced. The gap between teacher and student, between empire and hybrid, between what Oliver was and what he was becoming. Mark and Oliver fought together, not practiced, not coordinated, just present. Oliver used his cunning.
Mark used his heart. And for the first time, those were the same thing. They pushed Thragg back. Not enough to win, enough to stand. Thragg grabbed Oliver by the throat, lifted him, looked at the weapon that had refused to fire. "You were supposed to be better," Thragg said. Oliver smiled, blood on his teeth, human expression.
Viltrumite defiance. "I am," Oliver said. He struck, not at Thragg, at the ground beneath them. The shockwave destabilized the rock. Thragg lost balance for a half second. Oliver broke free. Mark hit Thragg with everything. The combined force sent the Emperor into the mountain. Stone collapsed on him. Not enough to kill, enough to delay. Oliver and Mark did not wait. They flew, not to fight, not yet, to plan, to become what Thragg feared most, brothers. The Empire would come, the war would follow. But for one evening, two sons of the same blood sat on a rooftop and watched the city breathe. Oliver asked about Debbie. Mark told him about the crib, about the night, about the years of searching. Oliver listened and did not know what to do with the weight of being missed. He looked at his hands again. Pink skin, human eyes, Viltrumite blood. Not a weapon, not a weakness. Just a boy who had been stolen and was still learning how to be found. Thragg dug himself out of the mountain by morning, alone. For the first time in centuries, he had lost something he could not replace. Not a planet, not a war. A future he had designed. To a human emotion he had never understood. The Empire would not forgive this. Thragg would not forget. But Oliver had already made his choice. Not in a moment of triumph, in a moment of quiet, on a rooftop, next to a brother who had fought for him before he knew he was worth fighting for. The sun rose. The city woke. Two Viltrumites watched it together. One who had learned to love. One who was learning. And an empire above them, burning slowly, because a single hybrid child had discovered that strength was not conquering alone. It was refusing to be alone. End of.